Okay, here we go. Many years ago at the old studio, someone I had been exploring with for several years arrived one evening telling me she was so excited because she had planned a trip to India. She was so inspired by the stories that I had shared of the traditions of India, and she had this feeling that she wanted to bring a piece of amethyst crystal with her to India, and asked me if I knew of anywhere that she could buy an amethyst crystal to take with her on her trip. As soon as she mentioned this to me, I became aware of a wonderful piece of amethyst from Veracruz, Mexico, that I had been given as a gift that had been very sacred for me, and I wanted to give it to her as soon as it came into my awareness. But when it came into my awareness, I could just feel that that wasn't going to be her amethyst. Even though I really wanted to give it to her as a gift, I could feel that there was guidance happening within me that wasn't it. So I let it go. I didn't give it any more thought. We continued our exploration that evening, and we went on a restroom break after about an hour and a half or 2 hours. When I came out of the restroom, I was getting this feeling that I should go into my private room. In my old studio, I had a room that was marked private on the outside of the door, so everybody knew that that was not a room that they ever went in. And it was locked, by the way. It was locked. And I was the only one that had a key to this room. What it was a bedroom I had at the old studio. In case it was ever snowy and the roads were bad at night, I would just sleep there rather than driving on the icy, snowy roads. And so in that room at the old studio, I had a dresser, and on top of the dresser, I had a puja, an altar. And there were 5 sacred items that I had been given that were my altar on the top of that dresser. And one of those 5 items was the piece of Veracruz amethyst. Well, as I got my keys and unlocked the door and went in, I was unsure as to why I was being called to go in there, because it was very clear to me that I wasn't to give her the Veracruz amethyst. And as I walked in and closed the door behind me, I looked on the dresser, and there was now another item right in the center of the circle of the 5 items that I had arranged on my puja, this altar. There was a new item right in the middle of the circle that had never been there before. I'm amazed. How did this get here? I move a few steps closer to see what it is, and it's a piece of heart-shaped amethyst on my puja. In the center of the 5 known items, one of which was the Veracruz amethyst, there was this new heart-shaped amethyst. And when I picked it up, I was so amazed. In the center of this heart-shaped amethyst was a round, disc-shaped, golden color mineral that kind of looked like a coin in the center of this amethyst. How in the world did this get here? And how in the world did this amethyst crystal get a round, disc-shaped looking gold inclusion? That's what those are called in crystals. When another mineral joins in the development of a crystal, they call it an inclusion. Wow, how did this happen? So I pick it up, I hold it to my heart, and I can feel, oh, this is her amethyst. This is the amethyst that I give to her. Oh, so I left the room, relocked the door, went into the main room where we would sit, and I'm holding it in my hand, and she sees me and she says, oh, hi, what you got there? I said, this is for you. And as she put out her hand, for some reason, when I put it in the palm of her hand, with my other hand, I quickly put her fingers over the top of it. And she had a confused look on her face. Wondering if this was to be looked at or what. She was confused, and I was confused. I didn't know why I did that. It didn't make any sense to do that, but it happened. And I'm sitting down, and she said, "Is it okay for me to look at what you just gave me?" And I said, "Yes, I'm so sorry I did that. I don't know why I did that. Yes, it's a gift for you." She opened her hand and looked at it and saw the heart-shaped amethyst with the round gold coin-shaped inclusion. She started sobbing and sobbing and held it to her heart, sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. She probably didn't say a word for 15, 20 minutes. It was quite a long time that she just cried and cried and cried with gratitude. And then when she was able to speak, she said, "Mitch, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I have to tell you something." I said, "Yes, please, what is it?" She said, "The first time I ever came here to explore with you, as soon as I saw you, I could feel that I knew you before. I don't know how I knew that, but I knew that I had known you before, possibly in another incarnation. I wasn't sure. So last week, I had a scheduled appointment with a past life regression hypnotist. And when I began the appointment with her, I said, there's someone that I'm exploring with that as soon as I met him, I had a feeling I've known him before. Would it be possible to go to a previous life where we knew each other? And her past life regression hypnotist said, it is a possibility. I can't guarantee it, but we can see what happens. So she did the process of hypnosis, and then we, with the intention that we would go to that life, and next thing I know, I was in that life. It was long ago in India, and I was an Indian woman, young Indian woman, walking through a forest, and I saw a spiritual teacher sitting with his back up against the trunk of a tree, and his students were gathered around and they were having satsang. And as soon as I saw them, I was very skeptical. I didn't believe in that kind of thing. I always felt that people were giving their power away to someone else and that they shouldn't do that. And I scoffed as I walked by and dismissed it. She said, in the experience, she walked into her house and heard a knock at the door behind her, turned around, and the spiritual teacher from the forest was standing there, smiling at her. She was so annoyed. How dare he chase after me like this, follow me to my home? She said, I opened the door and said, what do you want? And he looked at her and was holding something in his hand to give her as a gift. She said, what are you doing? He said, I would like to offer you this. She put out her hand. He put something in her hand and put her fingers over the top of what he had just put in her hand. She said to him, why did you do that? I don't know, he said. Whenever you're ready, you can open your hand and see what I have bought for you as a gift. She opened her hand, and it was a gold coin. Like the one inside of the heart-shaped amethyst crystal. She said in this hypnosis experience, she got so mad at him. How dare you try to bribe me to be your student? In her anger, she threw the coin at him and he ran off. She chased after him, picked up the coin, and was going to, say more things to him, but she couldn't see him anymore. So she went after him. She wondered, wow, how could he be so far ahead of me? He must be very fast. So she ran back to that area of the forest where she had seen him before sitting with his students at the tree. She arrived and there they were, all the students gathered around him. She started yelling, "This teacher is a fraud. He's a phony. He was just at my house, knocking on my door, had chased after me, gave me a gold coin in an effort to try to trick me to be his student. Is that how he fooled all of you? Did he give you coins to convince you to be his students?" One of the students looked at me with such kindness and gentleness and said, "If I may, I would just like to let you know, we've been sitting with him here this whole time. He never left." She said, in that life, in that moment, she realized that she was willing to sit and listen and be available to what they were all exploring together in the forest. She said to me that day in the old studio, "Mitch, at this moment in the past life regression hypnosis experience, I realized that person in that life was you. And in this life, I once again get to explore with you, and I'm so grateful." She had tears in her eyes, and I had tears already rolling down my cheeks with gratitude for this amazing experience that we shared together. She, to this day, still has this amethyst that arrived that evening somehow on my dresser in that private room, locked. Who can for sure explain this mystery? All I know for sure is I witnessed it, I experienced it. That heart-shaped crystal amethyst wasn't there, and that evening it was. And it was for her. She traveled to India with her crystal, which she gave the name Goldie Rocks. And she has said to me over the years that she takes Goldie Rocks with her wherever she goes, and she sleeps with Goldie Rocks under her pillow at night. This is so sweet. This is the lovely possibility of us. We're all holding each other's hands through the ages, through the lifetimes. In the mystery, we find each other again and again, and we help each other remember, amidst all the wildness and the compelling nature of a lived human life, how believable it is, how easily we get captured in the day-to-day intensity of the human experience, in which mostly what happens is we get ruled by our wanter. Now, this isn't wrong or bad, and we don't want to vilify the wanter. And yet, it is so compelling, it is so believable, that we do tend to get captured and experience reality through the perspective of the wanter and our problem solver mind. And this is the way of it here. It's buck wild. And yet, we can wake up to this play while in the play and realize all along we have been mystics in Wonderland.